Hello, I'm Tugboat Jerry. I live in Patterson, Louisiana, and I had my own tugboat company for 52 years. And I retired about 10 years ago, and now all I do is play music, and I do a lot of carvings and paintings. That's about it. I'm through with tugboats. Well, to start from the beginning, my daddy sang with Jimmy Rogers, the father of country music, when in 1929, and he used to tell us about it. So anyway, when I grew up, uh, he showed me how to play some of Jim Rogers' songs. And then when I'd sing, everybody said I sound like Ernest Tubb. So I started singing Ernest Tubb's music, and it wound up making a tribute album with Jack Green and Cal Smith over in Nashville. That was something I wasn't expecting, but it turned out good. Matter of fact, Jack Green was a big star in the Grand Ole Opry, and he offered to play the drums for me if I'd do a tribute to Ernest Tubb. And Cal Smith loaned me Ernest Tubb's guitar, his famous guitar, which I own today. And so that's how that album come about, 1985. Ernest Tubb died in 1984, so I was the first one to do a tribute album to Ernest Tubb. And they played it on a warm-up show in the Grand Ole Opry for 30 days. Mr. Grant Turner told me that he did it. He was a big announcer over there at the Grand Ole Opry. So I was surprised to hear that. When I went to Nashville, I didn't have no idea he was playing my album on the warm-up show on WSM radio. So that was really surprising to me, but I really was happy about that. And like I said, Jack Green, a big star in the Grand Ole Opry, was Entertainer of the Year and everything, and Vocalist of the Year, just before they went into televising it. And he offered to play the drums for me because that's how he started off with Ernest Tubb, playing the drums for Ernest Tubb. So that's how that album come about. I didn't even know the words to some of those, like Walking the Floor. So Jack Green had to tell me the words, and I knew the tune, but that's the way I wound up doing the tribute to Ernest Tubb by him telling me the words to Walking the Floor, and the other songs I already knew. So it was a fun deal. And old Jack, me and him did a lot of shows together, and Cal Smith, we did a lot of shows down in Florida. And both of them are gone now, but we had a lot of fun together. I guess when I met Johnny Cash, I was 15 years old. We was living in Brownsville, Texas, and he was going to play at a skating rink. It's 1956 or 57. So we used to hitchhike to that, from Brownsville to San Benito, about 18 miles, something like that. We used to hitchhike, go in a skating ring, and we found out Johnny Cash was going to be there. Well, my little brothers didn't want to go at night, hitchhike at night, because he was only going to be there until about 7 o'clock that night. So we went over there early, my daddy's old truck, and when we parked in the parking lot, my little brothers ran around to the back of the skating ring. Nobody was there yet. So when I come around the back of the skating ring, my little brother's standing right next to Johnny Cash and Luther Perkins, his guitar picker. And they each had a girl hugging these girls, and Johnny Cash had his guitar with him, and this other girl was taking pictures of him. And Johnny Cash was wanting to kiss this girl, so he asked my little brother, he said, "Son, would you hold my guitar?" So he let my little brother, Boo Boo was his name, held his guitar. And while he started kissing that girl, and my little brother could play a little bit, so he started picking the guitar, and Johnny did a double take. He said, "Son, that's really good." He said, "How long you been playing?" He said, "About 2 months." He said, "Well, keep it up." Well, he did. He wound up playing for Mickey Gilley and Johnny Lee at Gilley's in Houston. So anyway, after we talked a while, well, we heard the bass player, Marshall Grant, call on a PA system that they needed Johnny Cash, on stage. So he got this guitar from my brother and started to walk away, and he stopped to turn around. He said, "Are y'all coming to the show?" And my little brother told me, he said, we don't have any money. He said, well, follow me. He brought us and put us on our front row. So we loved Johnny Cash from there on. And he was playing a red guitar that night. So I told my brothers, I said, when I get old enough and get a job, I'm going to buy me a red guitar like Johnny Cash. Well, then about 25, 30 years later, I met him in Thibodeau. And I refreshed his memory, about this, that I wound up being a tugboat captain and all that. So anyway, I asked him if he's going to do that song, Big River, one of my favorite Johnny Cash songs. He said, well, we didn't have that on the schedule, but he said, I'll talk to the band. So sure enough, after we got through talked to him about 45 minutes, just me and him, one-on-one. And I went out in the audience, and he come out. He played about 6 or 7 songs, and after a while he said, through my travels, he said, I meet a lot of people, become my friends. He says, there's a guy out in the audience that's a wood carver, songwriter, singer, guitar player and all that, and artist. He said, I want to dedicate this song to him. He's a tugboat captain now. And he started hitting the song, Big River. So, boy, I thought I was in a Twilight Zone. So that was really nice. Marty Stewart was with him that night. Marty Stewart was married to his daughter, Cindy, and he was playing the mandolin for Johnny that night. So it was really a fun night, a memorable night. So I guess that's one of my biggest memories, meeting Johnny Cash. When I was 15, he was 25. And then all those years later, I became a tugboat captain. And after I refreshed his memory, he remembered that. I mean, he had that memory like an elephant. I couldn't believe he could remember that, because he met so many people through his life. I didn't think he'd ever remember that little part about me and my brothers. So that was really an experience. And like I said, and then another deal that really surprised me. He told me, we've been talking about you all the way from Nashville. And boy, he really shocked me there. I said, how in the world would he remember me and talk about me all the way from Nashville? But what it was a guy that I was in the Army with. His name was Ernest Hughes. His mother was going out with Bob Wooten, Johnny Cash's guitar picker. And what they did, they flew up to Nashville and got with Johnny Cash and Bob Wooten's daddy and all that. And then they rode the bus back to Thibodeau. And Ernest Hughes was telling Johnny Cash and all them about me the whole way back. So that's how he knew all about me. And, boy, I mean, that was really a coincidence. Me going to talk to Johnny Cash over there in Thibodeau, and then wound up finding out he already knew about me by Ernest Hughes. He was my buddy in the National Guard Army. So that was really something else. I mean, I still can't hardly believe how that worked out. After I made that album, Jack Green, Leon Rhodes, Tugboat Jerry, Jack Green, Leon Rhodes, a tribute to Ernest Tubb. Well, Ernest Tubb's band, this was after Ernest passed away. Justin Tubb, Ernest Tubb's son, he invited me to be on General Jackson. He was going to have the Grand Ole Opry on General Jackson that night. So I got over there early and I helped the band carry the instruments and everything, get them set up. And I figured they was going to practice with me. They said, he said, we know them songs in and out. He said, we've been doing that for years. He said, let's go on upstairs and get a drink. So we went upstairs and buddy started drinking, and a couple of them was smoking them left-handed cigarettes. And so I left and went back downstairs. And then when it got my turn to go on stage, Kitty Wells was right ahead of me. So I talked to her. I said, boy, I'm scared to death. I said, those boys are supposed to practice with me, and they didn't. And I said, here I am, don't even have my guitar tuned with the band. She said, well, just go out there. Don't worry about it. They're not going to hear your guitar anyway, because it wasn't plugged in. So anyway, she went out there, and boy, she got a standing ovation. And that was my turn. So the piano, the keyboard player, he was out there after she got off. And when I passed by him, what I did, I got Justin Tubb's guitar because it was all tuned, and I used it. And when I walked out on the stage, the keyboard player for Ernest Tubb said, what song you gonna do? I said, Another Story. He said, how's that go? I said, how's that go? I said, it's a hell of a time to ask me. I fixed to go on the stage and start singing. And he didn't know how the song went. So that was my scariest time. So anyway, we went out there. I hummed it to him a little bit, then he remembered. So we went out there, and I got a standing ovation. And what really surprised me, out of all the people in the audience, that lady had bought my album through the mail, and she brought it out there, and I'm the only one that had got to autograph an album that somebody had bought. So that was another thing. But the whole cast, Porter Wagoner, Jimmy Newman, all the cast from the Grand Ole Opry was there that night. And Justin Tubb was Ernest Tubb's son, and he's the one that invited me on there because I had did that album. So that was really nice of him.